Hello, hello.
I cleaned my
Today
desk and now I don't know where anything is.
I'm co-hosting with the Invisible Woman.
Yeah. I actually dressed as Sue Storm for Halloween when I was a little kid, and my older brother dressed as Johnny. And I think that's not fair. I should have been able to get Johnny because I'm younger.
That's fair.
But
It's not like
I was a
their
blonde
it's not like
girl.
their costumes are very
It's the
gender specific either. It's the same
It's the
uniform.
same uniform. I'm pretty sure we like for years like I wore his when I grew up a little bit because I was
Yeah.
gonna wear her again for like a random birthday party. Um, but yeah. Anyways, hi guys. Welcome to
Hi.
Book Talk, where Sam and I talk about books.
Your
Oh
book.
right, fuck.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry, you
okay.
do the intro, and I
You.
cursed in the first 2 minutes. It's fine.
Hi. So, welcome to our book talk, which book talk is when CB and I we take turns picking a book that the other one has not read before or just has no memory of, and then we read it and talk about it. Currently, it's CB's turn, and she picked Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, which I've been a fan of Mary Shelley for a long time. Never actually read Frankenstein.
Um,
Which, sorry, Mary Shelley.
no worries. Uh, this book was published in 1818. Fun fact.
Yes.
Because
So,
I went to look up the word count earlier and it was like, this book was published in 1818. I'm like, that's not an answer that I was looking for. Uh,
also, in our link, instead of, a find more about Marie Shelley here, since this book is public domain, I just posted the link to read it for free in the
yeah,
Internet Archives.
it's super public domain, which is great for the worm that's burrowing in my brain today. Um, but to summarize, Frankenstein, probably about half the people watching this were forced to read it in English class growing up, but for the rest of you, or for a refresher, or for the CB take on it, um, Frankenstein follows, it opens with a POV of Robert Walden, who is an explorer trying to cross through, I think, the North Pole to get to the other side of the world. As like the first people to do it.
Yeah, because they're like, I mean, people have gone around the world this way, but not this way, for
Yeah,
good
what's the
reason.
training route? Fuck, it's cold. There's a reason people don't do this. And while there, he happens upon a man on the ice, and that man is Victor Frankenstein, who tells a tale of his reaching for godhood, basically.
He tells his
Um,
whole ass life story, from
yeah, his
birth
whole fucking
to.
life story. Um, SparkNotes version, which many people have probably read. I haven't. I read this book for so many classes. I texted my brother to go and look in my bookshelves to find one of my annotated copies so I could show on stream. But how dare my family actually use the room that is technically mine? And I had too many books; they were getting in the way. So all of like about half my books have been packed up and put into the attic, and I'm like, how dare! I could have wanted to read that. Not like it's public domain. But so Victor Frankenstein is from uh, mild nobility. He went to college because he's always had a fascination in the natural sciences. Um, he attributes his more macabre or obsession with immortality because he found a ancient writing, like a book by an ancient philosopher or scientist that has been disproven even at the point of 1818, and his father dismissed it. And he's like, if my father hadn't dismissed it, then perhaps I wouldn't have gone down this path. It's all
It
my
says
father's fault.
he
Um,
acts like it's ancient. I think it's probably from the 14 or 1600s. a couple centuries, because I want to
He
say,
does reference ancient stuff, but he throws a lot of.
yeah, I want to
Every
say
time I read this,
yeah, but I want to say the philosophers he was crediting were alchemists.
yeah. For me, that's ancient. I guess historical. 1800s is historical. Old.
It's still in the 1000s, so it's not
Yeah.
ancient. You're not ancient until you're like 2000 BC.
This book, every time I read it, with the amount of philosophers and scientists he's name dropping, makes me feel uneducated. Even though there are different points in my life where I have read the writings of different ones because school, not for fun, but I'm just like, he's a fictional character, but I have beef with Victor Frankenstein. But that'll be obvious throughout this whole video. So
sorry. Well, it was like, well, alchemy originated in ancient Egypt in the 1st to 7th centuries CE.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the Islamic Golden Age, which was 8th to 13th centuries, and the Renaissance of Europe was 13 to 17. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember all of the names, but I'm pretty sure I clocked at least a couple of them as being from the medieval Renaissance Europe. Which, I will tell you, I only know as much about the alchemy thing as I do because me, Chris, and Matt did a live stream on simulacrums. And Frankenstein is a simulacrum. So
I think is how it's. I have no idea how it's pronounced.
Who knows? But synthetic humans.
Allowed. Yes. So, he has this obsession. He goes to college. He's laughed at for having read these old philosophers. Even though he's like, I am their disciple, and then he's like, well, I knew they weren't like actually right, but.
Okay, so, yeah, I knew they were like outdated. That's my bad.
His mother passes right before he goes to college. And then while at college, he basically becomes a prodigy within the science department and decides to become God. That's basically, he doesn't really disguise it at all. And he decides he's going to make his own race of of people that will be perfect.
Which is wild that, like,
yeah.
the book is called Frankenstein, the Modern Prometheus.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, he's not trying to give fire to people. No. He's just trying to be God straight up. So
yeah, straight up. So he fucking makes a dude out of dead bodies. And the dude comes to life and he goes, ew. He flees, and then when he comes back, the creature is no longer there. This is all from Victor's point of view, is the beginning portion of the book. Well, the beginning.
Sort of.
There's the introductory letters, and then there's part 1, which is from Victor's point of view. Then we get some of it's a point of view of the monsters.
I argue the entire book is from that one guy's point of view, but he was dictating Victor's point of view into letters, because like all of this has been sent
letters and corrected.
So yeah.
So Victor returns with our boy Henry Clerval, which is his best friend, who is more of a romantic at heart, wants to go on adventures when he's a kid, and is dearest and has beautiful eyes. We get lots of descriptions about how gorgeous and amazing he is, which we'll get to later.
Victor might have been a little in love with his best friend.
Just a little. He's also in love with his cousin, but who's not his cousin, because Elizabeth, who's the love interest of Victor and his eventual wife, is a little blonde girl his parents found once, and decided she was just so gorgeous compared to those dirty, poor brunette children, and decided to adopt her because she's a sweet little angel, and arranged that she's going to marry their child, their son.
Literally bought a fiance for her child, which in those days not that weird.
Not that weird in the minds of people nowadays. I'm still gonna call it weird because it was.
Well, it's kind of like, funny in an interesting way that, like, I learned through manga that rich people adopting playmates for their children is an age-old European practice that they've picked up in some Asian countries. And I was like, that does make sense. But also,
it makes sense. It's really interesting.
because I knew
fucking weird.
Because I knew about the I forgot what they're, the whipping boys and girls.
Yes.
I knew about those. I just didn't know about the paid for
straight up
companion. Sounds a lot dirtier than I meant it.
Wait a couple years but yeah. So we'll get into their relationship.
She was groomed for it.
On it later during the discussion portion. Anyways, Elizabeth exists. That's important. Oh, she also has 2 younger brothers, but they don't really matter other than the fact that one is forgotten. We don't really care about him. And then one's cute and perfect and adorable. If you sense a theme here, everyone's perfect, except the people that aren't. We'll, also get into that. So this creature now exists. Victor is so kind of burnt out and in shock of what he has done and neglecting himself. He falls terribly ill. Henry nurses him back to health, and then they return to they're just there for a while. Nurses him back to health, and then by the time that Victor is 2 years past, Victor is going to return home to his homeland to visit his family.
Victor saw the monster, or saw the creature, realized what he did, and that traumatized him so much he took 2 years to recover.
Yeah. But they get a letter from Elizabeth, or his father, and says that his youngest brother, the cute one that's adorable, is dead, has been murdered. And the worst part is, it's this nice lady that, is Elizabeth's best friend, whose name begins with a J that I'm forgetting.
Jacqueline? It was French.
Yeah. She did it, supposedly. Victor and everyone knows, or the readers is no, that lady didn't do it. Because he had gotten a previous letter about how, she's so nice and all this stuff. And he's like, oh, it was the monster. The creature. And so he returns home.
Justine.
What?
Justine.
He returns home for Justine's trial. And she was found with a necklace that the boy had been wearing when he died. And that's enough proof, and then she admits to it so that she would get absolution religiously, but then feels bad, but then she's like, oh, but lying is a sin, and even though Elizabeth and Victor try and prevent her from being put to death, she is executed for the murder of the child. Rip.
Which, I like that Mary Shelley kind of added a scene specifically so that Justine could talk to Elizabeth and be like, yeah, no, I only confessed because they were torturing me. Essentially, and so they tortured me into a confession, but now I feel bad about lying, but it's too late now.
And then we get a great little paragraph from Victor where he goes, woe is me, I'm in a worse off state than this lady being put to death for the murder of the child she partially raised, because she gets the sweet release of death and I have to stay here with my secrets. I wrote an entire essay in high school, I think, high school or early college, about how fucking stupid that is. How much I hate that man.
I will say I do understand his decision to not tell anybody, because he is correct.
They will think
it would sound batshit.
Not the truth, but my whole thing is
I was
truth. Change it a little bit and speak.
Okay, hold on. We'll save that for later because I too have thoughts on it. Like I said, I understand it. I don't agree with it, but I understand it.
So, Justine and Matthew, I think, are now dead. Victor is probably sick again because he's always fucking sick. He can't even bear looking at instruments of science, but that's been happening since he brought the creature to life.
I don't. He's not like physically ill this time around. It's just a melancholy, which depression still sick, but different kinds of sick.
He goes on a walkabout kind of thing. Goes into the Alps. It's like, wow, the world is beautiful. And then the creature shows up and is like, hey, listen to my story. And the creature tells of his own perspective of waking up, not knowing what existence is, or even having fully functioning senses. Ends up in the forest, runs into a person who is horrified by him because of his appearance, is semi-hunted, and then finds himself in the shed attached to a hut or a cottage where a family of an elderly father who is blind and a sister and a brother. This family, over time, him watching them, and then eventually the brother's becomes wife, not the sister. He married another woman shows up. Her learning English, French. He learns French through them and gets the power of speech, and then eventually reading as well. From watching, he watches them for a long ass time and kind of falls in love with them, their life, the way they care for each other, and wants desperately to be a part of it. He's the OG parasocial relationship. But one day when this family is also like fallen nobility for being,
because they can't just be commoners. Commoners can't just know how to read.
Yeah. They tried to help someone out, or Felix, the son, tried to help someone out, but then in doing so kind of ruined their family, and then the person that they helped out didn't in turn help him, and that is his now wife's father. But anyways, she is this whole thing, but yeah, they're destitute now. The creature falls in love with them, and then takes an opportunity one day when all of the young people that can see are out.
Hold on. Also, this entire time, he's been like cutting firewood.
Yes.
And trying to help them with their
benefactor.
Yeah, he was like helping them with their day-to-day chores, which gave them more free time to do other things. And then after the Arabian wife lady came, she had servants, and so he didn't have to do that as much, and they had even more free time.
And so, no, her servant died. She's just another.
No, that's a difference. That was her handmaiden died when she had originally escaped.
Yeah.
But then when she found him, she had servants again.
Huh. Okay. So anyways, all the people who can see are out, and he takes that opportunity to go talk to the patriarch of the family, and is like, hey, I have these friends that they don't know I exist, but I care for them deeply, and I hope they love me too. Can you help me? They live really near here. And the patriarch is interested in helping, but is kind of confused. Rightly so. And then the creature hears the young people coming home, and the creature's like, it's you! You're the people! I love you! Help!
Grabs his knees, like kneels
grabs him and does this. And then the Felix, the son, comes in and is like, what the fuck? Throws the creature to the side, and basically the creature flees.
Pummeling him.
The wife runs away, or like flees. And so the creature runs into the forest and is like, humanity has betrayed me. During this time, he is also, some of the clothes that he had grabbed when he was leaving Victor's lab after he had first awakened has Victor's journal in it. And now that he can read the journal and see Victor's thoughts over his own creation, and is horrified that the man that created him is disgusted, horrified by him. So he has a little bit of mental breakdown and is like, humanity has scorned me, I shall scorn them, blah, 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 I'm all alone, everything sucks, I'm gonna hate everyone. And then sees a little girl start to drown and saves her.
Well, hold on. He was, he did that whole betrayed, but then he's like, well, maybe I overreacted.
Yeah.
Maybe let me just wait till they come back. But then, and they don't come back that night, and then like the next morning, the son's all like, I can't live here anymore. There was this monster thing that was trying to eat my father.
Yeah, well, he doesn't say that, but he's like, I've told my tale. You understand why we have to go, even though it, like, forsakes our security deposit. Yeah. We're out of here. And that's when the creature, again, has his...
Well, he did say that, like, his dad's life was in danger because there was a...
He did think his dad was going to get murdered. It was a poorly handled situation on the creature's part, but also he's, like, one.
I was about to be like, on Felix's part? No.
No, Felix's, no, I get that from Felix's part. So then he goes into the forest, lives alone for a little while, then sees a little girl walking around, and then the little girl slips and falls and begins to drown, and he saves the little girl. But as soon as he saves her, her caretaker happens upon them, thinks that he is attacking the little girl, snatches her away and shoots him, and then runs off. And he's like, I had to spend months recovering, even though I was a good person, and that she would have died if not for me. But fuck me, I guess. Like, he's this is when it kind of sets in for him that there's nothing that, no matter what he does, he'll always be a monster. But that is what brings us to him to now seeking out Victor. He proposes this a deal to Victor. Oh wait, no, sorry. Then he goes to seek out Victor, happens upon a young cute child, and is like, oh, I'll steal this child.
Oh, this child is so young, so innocent, won't see me as a monster yet.
Yeah, I can groom him to not being afraid of me. And then the child's like, monster, call him! My dad is,
Frankenstein.
You can't hurt me, he'll kill you. And the creature is like, fuck you. I'm gonna take you away from Victor, even though he's his brother, not his father, but it's all,
yeah, which at that moment, what if they had been two unrelated Frankensteins?
Yeah.
Would have been, I don't know how common that surname would have been, but I'm just saying, how you know?
So he murders the child, and then is like, haha, I shall take what he has taken from me. It's this whole thing. And then that's when he now, it's where it is semi for Victor's presence in his, present day for recalling this. And the creature proposes, I will leave you alone, and all of humanity alone, go to literally nowhere and live off the land, if you make me a wife. Everyone else has a wife and a lady to love them. I want a lady to love me. And it's less about, like, a wife, but it's more about, like, someone who is of his own.
A companion. Like Adam had Eve.
Yeah. Because he's lonely, and it hurts to be called disgusting and a monster and a creature and a freak. And Victor, his heartstrings are tugged by this, and he goes, okay, I will. But then he actually...
Also, he's like, if you don't, I'll just keep killing all your loved ones.
That little bit tidbit as well.
Yeah, that also, which I will say, Victor's all like, oh.
He's a lot of mixed feelings. And then Victor and Henry go on a little cross-continent jaunt. Because Victor is like, okay, I need to go somewhere isolated to make a lady the bride.
I can't have anybody walking in on this.
What?
He's like, I can't have anybody walking in on this.
Yeah. But then his family's like, and Henry will go with you. And he's like, I'm going alone. Yes, with Henry.
Henry.
And Henry's like, yes, my dear friend, let's go together.
Last time you left without me, it didn't go so well.
Yeah. So they go together, they see all these great things. It's, bros trip. And then Victor's like getting kind of stressed. He's like, all right, I do need to make this bride so that my family's not murdered because it's a ticking time bomb. Henry, let's part ways real quick. I'm gonna jaunt over to Scotland. You go hang out with some people, and we'll be back up. I just need some alone time. Victor finds like a remote Scottish island, and then sets to work making the bride. Is halfway done when he goes, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this, because he is afraid that, one, they're gonna have offspring that will rule the world. Two, what if she is also horrified by the monster? What if the monster is horrified by her?
Victor has this wonderful moment of, but consent.
Yeah, what if she doesn't want to marry the monster? Already. She didn't make a deal to not, destroy all of humanity just for her existence. Like, what if she makes her own plans or something goes wrong? And he tears apart the corpse that he has half put together. He does also have a vision of the creature in this, like his creature, the guy creature, in this moment, and then tears apart the corpse, and then the actual creature arrives and is like, hey, so what's your plan now? And Victor's like, no, I shouldn't do it. I'm not going to do it. You can't make me. And the creature's like, you're gonna fucking die. I will see you on your wedding night. And then he departs.
Which I always took as a threat towards the wife. Yeah. I don't know why Victor took it as anything else. When the creature had already been like, I will kill all your loved ones, why would you think he's coming for you?
Yeah. So the creature departs. Victor is like, he like goes to the beach and cries, and blah blah blah. And then he's like, oh shit, I should get rid of all the body parts before I meet back up with Henry. And so he goes, dumps all of his stuff in the ocean, and then decides to take a nap in his boat. Wakes up and it's storming and stuff, and so he's like, oh, I'm gonna die if I don't go to land. And when he arrives in a land, he's like, I'm in England, and everyone's like, this is Ireland. And turns out that a man had been murdered right before Victor had arrived, and the murderer looked like it was in a boat that looked a lot like his.
A handsome.
And that man that got murdered. Victor is like escorted to the magistrate and then shown the body. He's told that like they were choked to death, and he's like, oh shit, it was the monster or the creature. And then he's shown the body. He's like, then he breaks down because it is Henry, rip our guy.
And he gets sick again.
One of the best characters, actually the best character in the book. He just wants to hang out.
This book has 2 good characters, and that's it. No, 3. It has 3 good characters, and that's it.
Yeah. And for some reason, they love Victor. Anyways, so.
Yes.
We'll talk about that later. So Victor has another mental breakdown because he's looking at his dearest friend dead body, and gets horribly sick. In his ravings, he basically admits to murdering Henry because his actions caused Henry's death. He's locked up in jail for 2 months, but the local magistrate finds a letter on his person revealing his identity and sends a letter to his father being like, hey, we have your son in jail for murdering his friend. The father shows up 2 months later when Victor is a little bit recovered and is like, hey, I'll deal with this. Let's go home. They go home, and Victor is still depressed. But on the way home, he gets a letter from Elizabeth being like, "Hey, you've been really depressed and you've been traveling a lot. I'm sorry, I'm sorry Henry died. Things are rough. Do you love another person? Are you in love with someone else? Because if so, we don't have to get married. I really want to, though, and I know that's always been the plan. But if you don't want to do that, that's okay. I just want you to be happy."
Yeah, she's
Uh,
basically like, if you keep getting really sick and shit because you
Yeah.
don't want to marry me, just tell me.
yeah. He's like, "No, I do want to marry you, the best of sisters." Um,
So weird.
so
They're not related. I don't even think they were actually raised to be related. You know what I mean?
no,
Like, not at all, but they just use
but they
the
refer
labels.
as sister and brother and cousin. And I'm like, you're just hitting all of the incest marks here, aren't you?
But I do like how in her letter she's like, we're not actually siblings, but like we were raised in the same house. So if you love me like a sister
Yeah.
and not like a woman, I get it. I don't see you as a brother. But and I was
It's like,
like,
we need to let's just hash this out. What is happening here?
I'm like, this is probably the best representation of this I have ever seen, and that's sad.
But he's weird though. On his side, he's weird. On
Mhm.
her side, it makes much more sense.
Oh yeah.
So they get back. He's like, "No, I do love you. Let's get married in 10 days."
Well, of course it's not weird on her side. She was groomed.
Yes, no.
So,
It's fucked up for her, but not because of her.
yeah.
So he's like, "Okay, the monster's gonna show up on my wedding night, and we're going to do great combat, and one of us will survive, and the other shall perish. I'm going to have 8 pistols on me at once, and a dozen knives." He doesn't actually have that many, but that's kind of the vibes. So they get married. Huzzah! Old man Frankenstein, like the father, is like, "Oh, good. This is just nice." And the two of them go to Elizabeth's like familial estate that through some land of her former father, who was also a noble before he fell. Has or no, no, yeah, just procured her some land. It was Frankenstein's mother, Victor's mother, that was a noble, and her family also fell. Just everyone in poverty that we care about, they were a noble first, guys.
They were.
They were. So they go to this estate for the two of them to, make a family and stuff. The night they get there, he's like, "Elizabeth, go to bed. I shall patrol the halls." And he's walking the halls. He's like, maybe the creature is dead.
He's a fucking dumbass.
Elizabeth. He freezes, hears a second scream, and is like, "Oh shit!" Runs in, Elizabeth is dead on the bed, and the creature is there, and is like, "Ha
Told
I
you.
don't provide another to you."
Unlike one of us, I keep my word.
Yeah, Victor is like, "Oh, this is what he meant." And everyone goes, "Yeah, this is what he meant." And then the creature runs into the night, into the forest. There's a whole witch hunt to try and find who the murderer is. But
Victor's dad dies of a broken heart.
The dad dies of a broken heart, which is a nice change of pace of women dying from broken hearts. Mostly it's women that die from broken hearts, so it's nice to see a man.
In fiction, statistically, men do.
Yeah. I hate the trope. I know it's a thing that actually happens to people, but I mean, it makes more sense here because so much fucking shit happens.
Yeah.
And he is already an old man. So the father dies, and then Victor basically sets out on this. He tells like a magistrate his whole story, and the magistrate's like, "Hey,
Sure.
Yeah, if we come across him, we'll hunt him down, but sure." And Victor's like, "You don't believe me," and the guy's like, "I'm not saying that," and Victor's like, "I'll do it myself."
He's like, I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm just saying it's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, then he goes to the graves of his loved one. He's like, I shall not die until the creature is dead. The creature appears and is like, ha ha! Now you shall stay alive. Uh, and they proceed on a who knows how long, who knows how many miles chase, where the creature is, every time that Victor seems to almost lose the creature's trail, the creature comes back and goes, right here, come on, I'm over
Essentially
here, keep
taunting him.
going. Until they end up in Antarctic, or in the Arctic Circle. And that is where Victor is like, well, I am going to die, and then comes across Walden's vessel and is taken aboard. At this point, Walden and his men are like, hey, can we go home? This is not going well. And Victor is like, how? Okay, also the reason Victor's telling this whole story to Walden is supposedly because he doesn't want Walden to make the same mistakes that he did by reaching for something that no man should achieve. In my opinion, traveling, finding a new trade route versus becoming a god of a new species, they're different things. But Victor is then at the prospect of Walden considering going home and is like, how dare you, you cowards! You have to stay! And Walden is like, men, think about it, and if you all still decide that you want to go home, we should go home. The men are like, yeah, we want to go home. And he's like, okay. And Victor is like, ugh.
They're like, it's not cowardly.
In the first place.
It's not cowardly to want to not die.
Which is like the exact opposite of what he was saying before he began his story, showing that he never fucking learned his lesson. Okay, and then Victor dies. Well, he's like, I'm going to set out on my own after the creature, and then he dies within a couple hours because he's.
I don't know why he thought he could survive the Arctic. He can't even survive disappointment.
Literally. Like, you got a broken nail and you're down for a week. Like, come on, bitch. He dies. Walden is like, but not before telling Walden to kill the creature. Like, I now pass my responsibility on to you. Walden is writing the last of this tale to his sister, being like, I'll be home, I'm heading home, the ice is cleared up, it seems like I will actually see you again. What a tale. Oh wait, I hear something. And then it's like, oh shit, the creature's real! So my dear friend that I love and think has such great eloquence and beautiful eyes, because Walden is also gay, was telling the truth. The creature is like, it wasn't my fault. What is the human condition? You would do it too. People were mean to me and that's why I did it. Walden is like, what did the people that you killed do to you? Yeah, he was kind of a dick, but he didn't actually kill anyone. And none of the people that you killed people. And the creature's like, no, this isn't on me.
You don't understand.
I'm gonna go kill myself now, because I see no more reason to live, because I'm done. The man I'm tormenting is dead. And I'm sad about that. And Walden's like, yeah, because you can't torment him. And he's like, no, because he's my creator. I'm sad.
My dad just died. Gosh, how insensitive.
And then Walden's like, what? And the creature goes off into the night, supposedly to kill himself. And that is the end of the book. So Sam, what did you think of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein?
Well, let me tell you, I've always enjoyed the Frankenstein movies and how the question has always been, who is the monster, man or the monster? However, in the book they are both the monster, so
fucking sucks, except
the discourse does not exist.
And Walden kind of has a stick up his ass, but isn't evil.
I still don't like him though. He's still.
I mean, I don't like him either. I think he's kind of entertaining because
I realized he's the reason I've never read this book.
Walden?
Anytime I've tried, he's so fucking pretentious.
Oh yeah, I mean, Victor's so fucking pretentious too.
You want to start that book out this way? That's not how you get Sam to read it.
I remember I hate Victor Frankenstein. Like,
Oh,
The
I've always
creature,
disliked
I
Victor.
think, is bad, but I have mixed feelings on because it's like nature. All of this, there's more discussion with the creature. Victor can go fuck himself. Like I hate that man so much, and I didn't forget, but I didn't process that I'm gonna have to read the book from his perspective again. So I'm like, the story itself is really interesting to me. Victor's takes are so fucking rancid.
I would say I don't really hate any of the characters,
Okay.
but I do greatly detest both Victor and the monster in this book, and that breaks my heart as I love the monster and so many other things.
Yeah, the creature
But
is, yeah.
the creature is just, he's just Victor's son. Like, in every meaning of the word, he's just like him, which is interesting because Victor wasn't around to socialize him. And I like how he blames the author of Paradise Lost for that. He's like, if I hadn't read Paradise Lost, I wouldn't be such a pretentious, judgmental dick. And I'm like...
But he also read Victor's notes in, like, journals. And I'm
Yeah,
like...
well, he read a bunch of stuff.
And
So-
I'm like, I think it's so... The concept of the creature of nature versus nurture, of would the creature have turned out differently if he had different influences? Like, if
Well,
he
we
had...
can't really go nature versus nurture in this because
What is nature?
the thing with nature,
Yeah.
he was built from a lot of different people.
Or I think
So
it's...
then you're like, well, whose nature would take over? Like, how does that work?
Well,
And that's
I mean, the
we just
nature
don't have
versus
enough.
nurture, as in Victor immediately sees him and views
Yeah.
him as a monster. Like, is his nature to be a monster, or is it because of what he went through that he became a monster?
Oh no, definitely. It's he started out a blank slate like a child.
Exactly. I agree, yeah.
But he became a monster because he had no guidance and
Yep.
because the world was
Cool.
terrible and everything to him. But like at a certain point he did know better and he still
Yes.
did things. And he completely tries to take away any agency he has because he's like, "Oh,
Victor
I was
and the creature
I
knew that. Because
he's like,
Victor
I was controlled by my temper and stuff." And Adam, which is what the monster is called in canonically, that's his name in other works and stuff.
Yeah.
He reminds me. I know it's such a buzzword at the moment, but he reminds me of a narcissist.
Yeah.
And he has so many of those tendencies and stuff, and I'm like, I cannot. But also, maybe Herman Munster is a better adaptation than I thought it was.
But Victor, even himself, every time, like in the whole beginning section, where he's talking before he makes the creature, he attributes his path to the books that he read, or the books that he read. His father.
Oh yeah, he also takes no responsibility for anything he does.
Guardian spirits, like all sorts of shit. For a man that is so of science, nothing.
Weirdly, the only things he takes responsibility for are actually things outside of his control.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, on the one hand, he's taking responsibility for things, but also,
what the fuck are you doing? Like,
Victor, you missed the point.
This is like, the book.
Also,
go ahead.
Well, no, he couldn't have just told them, hey, I created a monster. He could have told them, hey, I made an enemy.
There's a man after me.
Yeah. There's a man after me. So.
And he could even be like, he has some sort of deformity.
Yeah,
and
like he's got a deformity.
It doesn't have to be like, hey, this is the absolute truth of his creation. It'd be like, no, there's this giant dude out there.
No, like he 100% could have said something. And it would have also explained his conviction and his reaction and just like what was going on with him. Because he could have been like, yeah, that man drove me mad. And they would have been like, oh, everything makes sense now.
Yeah, the reason I was like not interacting with people for so long before Henry showed up is because that man was chasing after me and I was trying to hide. And then he had finally
I was afraid for everybody's safety.
Like he had attacked me, and so that's why I was so sick. And that, like, he could have just like told a little, like, the truth, but to a like, it obviously it pushes the blame solely onto the creature, for the stuff at the beginning, but
Yeah, so
also
people are
Victor's
in
fucking,
danger.
um,
So that's fine. He can own up to his other shit later after they catch the
yeah,
creature.
let's say like, hey, we caught the guy, and he'd be like, anyone who looks at him in more detail be like, yeah, that's a bunch of body parts sewn together, given
So
life.
Victor, not this guy.
And then he can cleanse his soul, but whatever. The lives are more important than his fucking soul. But yeah, so you didn't actually. Did you enjoy the book? Okay.
I felt about it the same way I did Anne Rice's interview with Vampire, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Which was, I like enough of the characters and the plot and everything, but my god, do I want to smack the main character for whining so much.
Yeah. I think my take on it is, I know this is my fucking choice, and I think it is a good book. I think it's a very interesting book. But I hesitate to be like, I enjoy reading this. I enjoy what I get out of reading it. And I feel like I am sitting there as I'm listening or as I'm reading and being like, thinking about the complexity of fucking human nature. Partly because the way I've always approached this book has been in an academic context. So it's literally, I'm listening to it at 23. No one's forcing me to, but I'm like, that's indirect characterization right there. Oh, that's a symbol. Like, that is how my brain approaches this book, is as a dissection and as almost as a writing and a reading project, rather than a book I'm going to sit down and read.
Which is the exact opposite of what book talk books are supposed to be.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Because you know what? I am of the opinion that I can like a book that I did not enjoy reading, or I can enjoy a book that I didn't actually like. Emotions are weird and layered that way. For Frankenstein, I want to say I liked the book, even if I didn't necessarily always enjoy it. And like, a lot of that has to do with the fact that I am a horror buff, and as you know, I am a buff of the history and evolution of just things in general. And I like, gothic fiction, and especially like fantasy, sci-fi, and horror. They've always been like the big three, and they're the things that people like to divide the most and compare the most. And so knowing that this is considered and labeled and always has been a gothic literature novel, and that it was basically Mary Shelly was just like, but I'm gonna make it science and philosophical, and then it was like, oh, this is science fiction now, and that we have this whole other thing from that. And it's like, I can see the influences from gothic literature and from other things, and then I can see how she changed it and where her own takes on it then changed and moved forward with sci-fi, like what other future writers would take from her. And because a lot of the earlier sci-fi stories like were weird fiction, and it's like weird fiction kind of evolved into sci-fi,
I think
a little bit.
Like, there's in sci-fi, a lot of like scary stuff in sci-fi comes from, this is a gross generalization, I'm saying off the bat, comes from humans meddling where they shouldn't. And this book is like the humans meddling where they shouldn't book.
A lot of sci-fi horror or sci-fi thrillers or sci-fi suspense, and that's usually the lesson.
I think that lesson is detracted, or is fucking words are not working right now. It is lessened. That lesson is lessened by Victor being our sole narrator. I mean, he's not, because of Robert Walden, but I almost wonder,
because we don't get like Henry, or we only get the perspective of those in the know.
Yeah, or like the fear of, look at what you've done.
Yeah.
Isn't like, or even if at the end with Robert, we got a little bit of him being like, hey, I'd basically fallen in love with this man, and then he told me this wild tale I didn't quite believe. And then I met the creature, and I realized it is all true to some extent in that horror of like, what have you done? But there's also the part of me where I'm like, but you do get it. The reader is the one
You're
going,
supposed to
what
get it.
have you done?
Yeah.
So, but I wonder, I don't think this book would be, okay, I'm gonna make another gross generalization. I don't think this book would be well received modern day. I think it would be people pointing at it and going, that's a bad book, because so much of the higher thought, or like the conclusions of the book, were told the exact opposite by by Victor, or the lessons and stuff aren't.
I would argue that that's just because of the current movement of de-intellectualization.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I
Yeah,
think,
which doesn't really say, like, the book can only do what it do.
yeah, but I think it's, I don't know. There's two parts where I'm like, oh, I wish they had said it more, but I also like that they didn't quite say it. That they let the reader draw their conclusion, because that's part of, growing your brain.
Generally, with stuff like this, the point or like the goal of most literature like this isn't to answer the question. It's just to pose the question and give you options. Like, it's all about making the reader feel a little uncomfortable with reality as they struggle with those own answers themselves. Because if the book gives you the answer, or if the book answers the question for you, then it's not as poignant in its purpose, which is coming from somebody who that is part of the reason I don't read that genre a lot of the time, because I like having the answer. So that's just a oh my god, symptom is not the word I want, but it's the word that's coming. It's a symptom of the genre.
Yeah, a trait of it. And I think
yes,
I enjoy that, but it's one of the things, I know we talk a lot about, like, I'm kind of a picky and kind of a dick when it comes to books and stories. Doing book talk has definitely made me aware of that. And I have incredibly strong, mostly kind of asshole opinions about things.
That happens a lot for people who went to college for it.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I decided not to.
I've had them. I was picking fights over Frankenstein in high school, though.
Yes, but you went to a specialized high school for this stuff, and your dad is an English professor.
I did not go to a specialized high school.
I thought your last 2 years of high school were in.
My last year of high school that's my first year of college.
Okay, well, in my defense.
But yes, that was a high school, like, I also covered Frankenstein in that class. That's the thing, where I covered it in two different types of learning. Like, one, it was like an honors English class when I did it in high school. That's joking, because the next year
also, to be fair, I was in honors English classes, and then I did AP English, where we learned to analyze it. But as part of my curriculum, we read, I forgot what the book is, but there's a chapter called Sometimes a Cigar is Just a Cigar. So like, my AP English teacher went out of her way to make sure that while we were analyzing media and stuff, we were also taking a break to just enjoy media and to not necessarily judge media just because we might disagree with it or something, which I think in a lot of which this is my gross over exaggeration, or just not over, but this is my gross generalization just based on the people I have personally known who have English degrees or took creative writing courses in college, is that a lot of times in academia it strips away the fiction part of writing
Yeah.
and tries to judge everything on how poignant it is, like how realistic it is, what its message is, and everything. It completely forgets that writing and telling stories can be for entertainment, or that it can be for entertainment while doing those other things.
Isn't there like, yeah, why do you write? And there's like, it's like 3 different things where it's education, entertainment, persuasion, and I don't remember them. But there's like a thing, and there,
Yeah.
education's only one of them. But yeah, so one of the things I had issues with over through high school and then through college from an academic perspective is looking at it straight up like a story, whether or not I enjoyed it. And that's where I was like, and I can pick apart the ways I enjoyed it, but I was being encouraged and also punished by grades for not doing so, to go deeper than that. Like tear it apart more. Like have these thoughts, which, or not these thoughts, but like, you know, exactly
also,
what you're talking about is the issue. I was being encouraged to do so. Not by every teacher, but by enough that it definitely,
yeah,
like, when I turn on analytics.
I don't know. Also,
and
I don't. Sorry, I just want to say I don't know if this was the case for any of your teachers, as I don't know any of your, teachers and stuff. But I do know that there are some teachers that will pose a question about a story, and if you write anything that goes against what they personally think, regardless of how good your argument or anything is, they will mark it as
wrong.
Because it doesn't fit with what they wanted you to
definitely
answer. And I did have one teacher who did that. I fucking.
Yeah. I've had a variety.
But that was with history essays. So
No,
that
mine were usually English ones. Where I'm like, I disagree. Or I'd be like, or I have written essays where it's like, the point of my essay was saying it doesn't matter because I enjoy it.
Yes.
And then like going into that, in a analytical sense, but that was the idea of like,
Yeah.
either this or this, or it's either this or that, but I don't care which of them because of this, and here's why. Whether or not it was a good essay, I don't remember or care super much to go back and look through my Google Drive. But Frankenstein, with reading like this book especially, but then our books in general, because I know we're going to be sitting down and doing a talk on them, I am turning on the parts of my brain that were structured in those classes.
Yeah.
Where for like a stream, even over the course of like some of our other streams, we'll open the stream being like, nah, I didn't really like it. And at the end, I'm like, blah, 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 and he was like, rah! And I'm like, I'm not that passionate about it, but it's time to talk, so my opinions become very intense. So yeah,
I think that's also in part just because we have a lot of fun talking and arguing about things.
Absolutely. But I wanted to add that in as well, about the different ways to approach
there was a point in this novel where I was like, I hate this novel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to have anything good to say. But then, like, I kept going, and I was like, oh, no, okay, this novel is fine.
I did too. I started it, I like tried to start it like 3 different times this week. And every time I'm like, fucking hell, like, this is my fucking pick, and I kind of want to text Sam and being like, never mind. And
change the book at the last minute.
Yeah, it was yesterday when I was like forcing myself to get through the Walden chapters. All right, no, I think I was into the Victor introduction. Where
I hated all of Walden's chapters. I was like, leave your sister alone.
Where I'm like starting to think about how the thing we discussed earlier, where enjoying a novel versus a good novel versus liking it versus enjoying it, that kind of debate and discussion. That's when I started thinking about wanting to talk about that. But yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Talk about the women in this book.
What women?
Yep. You mean the love interest, the sister, cousin, wife, daughter? Everyone's
I'm
everyone.
trying to, I want to look at,
Daughter or their wife.
okay,
Not a
so for, on my page bound, when I finished it, I slept, and then I woke up, and this is how I felt about it this morning. Overall, I gave it a 4.0. Enjoyment, 4. Quality, 5. Because regardless of everything, amazingly written book.
Yeah.
Characters, 3.5. Plot, 4. So,
Wow. That's really, that's,
I'm always a general. Look, if you ever go on my page bound and there's anything with 1 star or less, that book personally offended me. There was something in that book that pissed
really
me
wrong with that book.
real off. Everything is at least 2 stars. But
yeah. So I thought it was.
So all right, Elizabeth was fine. Like, no real complaints. I actually enjoyed her because
I enjoyed her.
Like, she was actually, like, I think she was characterized, she was like a well-written woman character, which makes sense as Mary Shelley wrote it. So, like, even though she's like a mildly unimportant, like, background character who has little to no influence on the plot, she was still written like a fully developed character. So, love her. I feel so sorry for Walden's sister. I don't know how she feels about his letters. He never mentions in your last letter you said this or anything.
Well, at the beginning, he's like, "Hey, I'm sending these. I'll only get a reply." Like, there's only one time where he'd be able to get a reply, and that's at the very beginning.
That is
and
fair.
Then everything after that, he's like, "I don't even know if you'll ever get these because I'm not sending them because I'm in the
he's just
circle."
Okay. That is fair. I did forget that part.
Yeah, no worries. I had to write a characterization on Walden's sister, and I'm like, she's not in the fucking book. He's writing her.
She doesn't have.
I mean, like, yes, we got a little bit.
Presumably like, close to Walden.
That she asked him not to. She's like, please don't do this. He's like, I know you asked me not to, but I have to.
Presumably loves and cares about her brother.
Yeah. Tolerates him enough that he thinks she'll read the letters. My glasses are very crooked. They're so crooked. Oh my god. Sorry. I don't know how to fix this. Anyways. Yeah. And then the fucking child.
I don't think the creature is canonically beautiful.
No. I was like, as soon as we got to the point, I'm like, the fuck?
He called the creature beautiful in like the same way. I felt it had the same vibes as only a face a mother could love, and he's the mother.
Yeah,
and then he woke up, and I'm like, that part in specific, I took a very different way than the book meant for it to take, and that's just because there are so many times when, like, as a parent, you have a, like, particularly stressful or bad day with the children, and then they're sleeping, and you're like, oh, you're such a little angel, so beautiful, so precious, until you wake up. So, I was like, Victor, I relate in this moment.
No, okay, so so here's what the text says. Here's what I'm choosing to take an interpretation. Don't know where the fuck I was getting "it's beautiful" from. The text says he fashioned it in a way that the features should be beautiful, but because of that's a dead body, the skin is sallow, the lips are like wrinkled, because it's not flushed with life. It's like, I think from they're traits of a beautiful person, but because there is no life in it, it is horrifying. It like literally is something. It's not horrifying.
It triggers the uncanny survival in people's brain.
So and I think it's like, no, it's kind of like shriveled and weird looking. Is what the text says. I'm going to choose to take it as Uncanny Valley because I enjoy that more. Because I'm like, oh, okay, that's just like an ugly thing that.
Well, I mean, to be fair, no matter how fresh the corpse is, corpses do warp very quickly, and so it's probably when he harvested the body parts, they were beautiful, and then he put them together, and now you've got this
Thing.
grody looking thing going around. I actually think that probably Frankenstein in the movies looks better than how the actual monster is supposed to look.
The green one?
All of them. I don't think there's actually been a Frankenstein that's supposed to look as weird and horrific as the one in the book
I
does.
think people are like, Jacob Elordi's Frankenstein is too hot. And I'm like, I don't think he looks dead enough. But I think his is the closest with like, yeah, that's probably what it looks like. But it's not because it's hot, it's because it looks too living, because Jacob Elordi's alive. I mean, like, I know he's covered in prosthetics and that, but it's not because the actor is too attractive. And
Yeah,
like,
the
I just
prosthetics
think
change
he
that.
looks more withered.
He also, I think there's a charisma that he has that the monster definitively lacks.
Oh yeah, it's so lax. Sorry, I'm super.
He didn't get that from his dad, Victor, because Victor's got to have a natural charisma about him. Otherwise, I don't see why anybody gets along.
Yeah, but also Victor is fucking like 22 or something when he brings the creature to life, or even younger than that. No, it is 22 because he's 25 at one point. He says 3 years ago. But yeah, which I'm like, man is, in his year of college, making horrible decisions.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Like, he is at an age where it 100% makes sense for him to have done this. And for him to see. Which also may be why I don't judge him as harshly, because I am like, yes, this is a 20-something. This makes sense for that age group.
I have been judging him like that since I was like 14.
Well, that's because that's your age group. We always judge our own age group harder.
Maybe when I'm older, I'll judge him less, but even when I'm younger, I think I hated him more when I was younger. Actually, no, I just fucking hate this man. Sorry. Actually, I'm not. I just can't fucking stand him.
Well, that's fine.
Like, talking about the way he talked about Elizabeth, who's like, and she was given to me. She is mine.
Because his mom told him that. Like,
yeah. But I'm like, people.
Victor is the way he is because he was nurtured that way.
Yeah, no, his family's fucking weird. And I think it's hilarious that they just never talk about the brother that's like Esther or whatever. And the brother that wants to be a soldier. After the father's death, never fucking mention that guy again.
I assume he died in war.
We don't even know if he went to war. Victor took off to hunt down the creature, and leaving, he's like, there's no one left for me. And I'm like, you have another brother.
Like, I didn't, like, when the book started, or when I was reading the book, and it's like, yeah, he's got 2 brothers. I was like, what? I knew he had one. I didn't know about the other.
There's also another one, I guess.
And then I was like, oh, wait, yeah, the one brother. But then, no, that turned out to be Henry. And I was like, never mind. That's not the brother. Rip to this poor brother.
Sorry, I'm totally obsessed.
No, you're good.
There we go. That's more okay.
Which, I did see the 2025 Frankenstein film. I don't know if you have or not.
I haven't.
It is so, from all of the films that I have seen and from this book, it is, I think, so far the most faithful adaptation.
Okay.
Except they give Elizabeth a much bigger part that I don't like. I'm very annoyed. We can watch the movie and talk about that if you want, but I want to say much more.
I considered watching the movie before this, and then I barely finished the book before stream. So that didn't happen. Big surprise, I know.
Besides, if we do a let's talk about the movie, we should have Chris there.
Yeah, that'd be
Frankenstein is his thing. I got so much shit for doing this book. Even though I used my Libro credit to buy him a really nice full cast audiobook for it, so that I could listen to it. But he was like, but that's my thing somehow at some point. And I'm like,
I don't understand this bit, but okay. Yeah, so one of the adaptations, I don't know if I watched in a film class or in one of my English classes after we read it, has the monster drown the little girl instead of saving her.
Oh,
Like
they missed the point.
It adds together Matthew's death and then the little girl.
Oh,
So
okay.
he sees the little girl and he's like, I'm gonna take you away. You're gonna be mine. And she's like, ah, monster. And he goes, no, and drowns her. So it's not. I don't think Victor has siblings in that take of it, or in that adaptation.
I don't think he has siblings in most of them.
Yeah, and I kind of like it that there is just a random little girl that he did save. Like
It is kind of wild that oh, let me just try to kidnap this random little boy and then find out it's Victor's brother. Which one could also argue, though, that he recognized Victor's brother subconsciously, just as he's like, oh, look, it's a little Victor.
Yeah.
And I will kidnap him and make him my friend. And then he like takes the mom's necklace and puts it in this random sleeping woman's pocket because he's like, I'm a frame her, and it turns out to be I was like,
because I'm ugly, and I'm like, she has been unconscious for this entire interaction. Maybe she would love you, actually.
I'm just like, this is. Look, you didn't have to ask me to suspend my disbelief when it was like, oh yeah, he made a person out of person parts. I was like, okay, yeah, makes sense. But then that other stuff, I'm like, so awful. I liked it better when I thought you masterminded that shit. When you were just like, you know what, fuck Victor for rejecting me. I was okay with a monster with daddy issues who didn't quite fully understand a moral compass. And then he's like, no, I understood everything I was doing, but like, here are my reasons. And I'm like, why they gotta ruin the monster this way? Ignoring the fact that this is the original.
This is the monster.
Why they gotta do this to my monster?
Yeah, with the monster.
But sci-fi and not horror. Horror would never do me like this.
Yeah. With the monster's morality, it's like, those people were scared and you killed them. Like, you've killed all of these innocent people
I think
to punish one man who did you dirty.
I think Frankenstein might be one of those really great examples of a premise that I thoroughly enjoy and think that a lot could be done with. And I want a disclaimer here. I don't think there's anything wrong with the way that Mary Shelley wrote it or did it. Like, that those were her arguments. That's how, she wanted to do it. And she was inspired and she wrote her story the way she did. But I love that it has inspired so many other versions, and that some of those versions do handle the question and the argument in the way that I prefer. Which, again, this is just a personal thing. This is not anything against the actual story. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I think the creature could have been sympathetic. It is until he isn't. And I think that's one of the points of the story. But it's also like, but I don't want him to be a bad guy.
I'm okay with him being a bad guy. I just want him to be my kind of bad guy.
So yeah, those are my thoughts on Frankenstein. Thank you for reading it with me.
No problem. Like I said, this is one of those books that I'm like, I have been wanting to read it for a really long time, but I could just never bring myself to read it. Now I know it's Walden's fault.
Also, there's a bit of racism in it. I feel like that's important.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. I did want to touch on that. There is some Islamophobia in this book. It's very, I don't even want to say it's like very of the time, because no, like these kind of assumptions and stuff, like those stereotypes still go on today.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, why have I never known about this?
Yeah.
Like, that is definitely a part that they cut out of every adaptation I've ever known. And I'm like, you know what, that's fair. We don't need it.
And it's one of those things where it's like, it didn't need to be part of the book. Like,
no. And like, we could have
anything, any other.
Yeah, we could have very much they could have still had the exact same subplot and just left out the commentary on.
Of course.
My brain keeps saying Islam. Is that? Well, I'm trying to think. Is the religion called Islam or is it Muslim? Either way, didn't need to comment on all of them.
the book.
Huh?
I think they referred to her as Muslim in the book.
Okay, yeah.
I think. Feel free to correct us if we're wrong, but it was kind of like, come on. Or either like you could have kept the plot the same and not had it be written
Like
as
her dad could have been
shady.
like her dad could have been shady and underhanded and still been Christian. That is a thing.
Yeah, and then they could have had the language difference being any language.
Just because they're Arabic.
Yeah, just
because like the daughter was Christian and Arabic. Her father could have been Christian and Arabic. They didn't have to have the religious divide there.
I thought she was Muslim.
Huh?
I thought she was Muslim.
No, she is Christian. That was like the big point. It's like, and the daughter was a good Christian woman.
Right.
And I was like, eye rolls. Because that's like the whole reason she didn't want to go
almost doing something with like, yes, this man was hated because of his religion and the fact that he had money. And you're like, yeah. And then Felix steps in to help because that's wrong, that he was like, framed for a crime because of that. And then he stabs him in the back. And it's like, well, fucking hell. Okay.
And his daughter doesn't want to go back with him because she hates their religion.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's like, okay.
We were okay to a point, and then.
Yeah.
I like that we have 4 viewers now toward the end when we're bitching about the.
And there's also the fact where it's like, yes, his exotic wife, when it's like, all right. I was glad that they had like, oh no, the way they bonded was when they had an interpreter. So it wasn't just like, they sat there and they looked at each other and her wildly foreign wiles seduced him and he was blah, blah, blah. Which is how some things are written. But I'm glad it was like,
I know.
And they bonded.
But I will also say this, Mary Shelley did portray a loving interracial relationship, and I think that was probably progressive for the time.
Yeah.
Despite other things.
And then also like the way that Victor talks about the quote Oriental poems and how it's so different from the Greco-Roman because that they're so like less cerebral or something like that. I don't know. It was something that was like, dude, it's like just a gross generalization of multiple cultures being mashed into one where it's like, oh, this is some, which might just be Victor Frankenstein being a piece of shit and not.
No, I think that was the sciences of the time. That was basically.
Yeah, I do think it
like
was
yes, Victor was being a piece of shit for that. I just don't think that was like a personal thing to him so much as just like.
That's what people.
That's how the academic field at the time saw things. So. Excuse me.
But
yeah, they said hello, lurking. Yeah, we're doing well. We're about to wrap up. So this is June, and it is Pride Month. Happy Pride Month. However, neither of our books were Pride picks because these were supposed to be our books for last month, but I died, and then I had to work a lot, and then I died again. So, and I did not have a Victor Frankenstein to resurrect me. Probably a good thing.
Definitely.
So we're gonna do Pride in July.
Yeah.
So my pick for this month will be A Lady's Guide to Scandal by Sophie Irwin, notably the second book in the A Lady's Guide series. The first one was A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting.
Yes.
I read this book just so I could put this book on our list.
The way you can read a book and then turn around and read it again is wild for me.
Well, that in part,
it feels like pulling teeth to read it again sometimes.
I just kind of zone out on the parts I don't like. Well, okay, if I read it for a book talk, I pay attention to the whole thing. But otherwise, if I'm rereading, I'll be like, I didn't like this part, so I just won't pay attention anymore. And then I was like, it's like the audio version of some people skipping to their favorite scenes. But also, if you look at it this way, this is going to be my easiest way to see it, is the chart.
The chart of all
Since
books.
I have read that book the first time, let's see. I have read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48 books.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, and I will have read more by the time we read this one, because we are planned to do this. CB, quickly remember when we are planned to do this.
The 19th?
Yes, I believe the 19th. So that's
No, we're not doing the 19th because it's Juneteenth.
Oh yeah, that's Juneteenth. So we're doing the 20th probably. No, you work Saturdays.
I work Saturdays. I think we said the 18th, which is a Thursday.
Oh yeah, Thursday. So we'll be doing it the 18th. That's like 2 weeks. I will have read so many more things between the. I need the refresher. But all right, we're gonna get going because we've said everything that we wanted to say, and Stevie's got plans. So.
Yep. And if you guys have any questions, you can ask. We'll respond in the comments.
Yeah, just leave them in the comments. Bye.
Bye.